And right now, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. Yeah, there we have our next slide. So the first thing that's going to be discussed is going to be what is business administration to begin with. We're going to talk about how do I apply, and specifically our numerous fixes selection program. And we also have 2 students here today to share their experiences with being a bachelor student in business administration with us. And I want to introduce all of the people that are going to speak today. And I want to start with Frank Belschak. He's the program director. Frank, can you say hi?
Hi, everybody. Glad you're here.
Hi. I'll come back to you in a second. Then next up is Rosemary Luthi from our admissions office.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Rosemary. And then we have Maria, one of the students speaking today.
Hi, guys. Welcome.
And finally, we have Marco. Hi, Marco.
Hello, everyone.
Also one of the students telling about their experience. Well, then, small reminder, we have a live Q&A after each presentation with the people who've just spoken. And I want to give it to you, Frank. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Sanne. So welcome, everybody. Like I already said, I'm glad you're here today. You could make it. And I would like to give you a little bit more background information about what is business administration. So what is the content of the program, and also about how is it like here in Amsterdam? Because while there is a lot of overlap between business administration programs all over the world, there are also some specificities. So some specifics. So, but let me start first with what is business administration? I think all of you have some basic idea what this is about. Some might say about monies, others might say about marketing. And of course, you're all correct. So business administration is basically everything that plays a role in managing an organization in the broadest sense. So how to set it up, how to manage it in the sense of leading it, how to find the right people, how to get money on board, how to keep track of the costs, how to produce something and organize it efficiently, how to sell stuff. So, and basically it applies to all organizations that you could think of. So intuitively, you probably might think about big organizations, but it doesn't matter. Small organizations also need to answer all of those questions. They also need money. They also need people. They also need to manage their processes and stuff. So everybody needs business administration. Every organization, be it small or big, be it for-profit or non-profit or governmental, all of them are potential people who can hire you, or organizations that can hire you. So you see in the background, Google. Just to illustrate it with one small example, Google, you probably all know it. It's a big firm, so there is a lot of different brands that are part of the Google family. So Google, here in the background, you see the search engine Google, but Google also covers, for instance, the web browser, Google Chrome. It covers also operation system, Android, which is for computers as well as cell phones. And it covers also YouTube, for instance, which was bought by Google in 2006. So now let's think about it. And how can Google, for instance, win the race about web browsers? There is strong competition there. So you have Mozilla Firefox available for free. You have pre-installed everywhere on every Microsoft computer already Microsoft Edge, the successor of Microsoft Internet Explorer. So it's a competitive market. Everybody gives it away for free. So is it worthwhile to spend all the money to hire the people who further develop that web browser, or should you just abandon it and focus rather on the search engine? That will be a strategic question. And you can even bring it one level further. So probably you have heard all about ChatGPT, OpenAI, the artificial intelligence chat robot. And it's very smart. And people are really amazed about what it can do, especially universities are worried about what it can do. But yeah, it was bought by Microsoft, and it's part of now their Bing search engine. So if you use Bing search engine, you can use OpenAI and ChatGPT. So with Google, you can't. So how to react to that? And to make things even worse, you can only use the Bing program, including ChatGPT, if you use Microsoft Edge web browser. So Google is under strong attack. What should they do? How should they react? So those are all interesting questions, actual questions right now, hot topics that are all at the core of business administration that you're going to tackle in your study. But of course, there's also other questions, like, for instance, how to get money. So, and how to spend money. So different ways of getting money. Should I go to the stock market? Should I borrow it from banks or private investment companies? What's my best bet? And you can see that all of those things have advantages and disadvantages. So for instance, a couple of years ago, Elon Musk was complaining a lot officially that he wanted to buy back his own stocks because he didn't like that he was suddenly under the control of the shareholders. So every of those decisions has implications for your business. You need to make well-informed choices. And this is what business administration is about. Managing all of it, managing marketing, strategy, finance, everything. So that was business administration in general. Now maybe let's move over to the program. How does business administration look here at the University of Amsterdam? Well, it's a bachelor's program, and like all of the bachelor's program, it's a 3 years program. And we start out with year one with building the foundation, a foundational year. And basically, business administration is a multidisciplinary study. So you have a business problem and you want to solve it. And to solve it, you make use of all kinds of different disciplines. Whatever it takes, whatever is useful. Consider it like a toolbox. If I need a hammer, I grab a hammer. If I need a screwdriver, I need a screwdriver. So you have different disciplines that you use to answer business questions. And we call that the 4 pillars. And this is methods, people, economics, and organization. So you have, for instance, sometimes marketing questions, like how to run your advertisement in a nice way. So that would be a more people, so psychological topic. What attracts the most attention? What is remembered best? What triggered most impulses of people to buy it? But it could be also, what should be a good price? That is partially a people question, a psychological question, but also an economic question. For instance, where supply and demand curve meet each other, that's the optimal price. But then there's also a psychological component, like for instance, 3.99 sells better than 4 euros. So people perceive that as substantially cheaper if it's 3.99, even though there's only difference of 1 cent. So psychology also plays a role. But if you have, for instance, a finance question, like how to invest my money, I have 10 million and I have to invest it in different chunks now, in 2 years, in 3 years, and I get money back in different chunks in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And yeah, that differs across projects. So what is more advantageous? And then it becomes, for instance, a mathematical problem. So it's methods. So you see where we're going. You're going to learn 4 different disciplines to the extent that they are relevant for answering business administration questions. And then we build on that in the 2nd year. And the 2nd year is basically understanding how a business works. So then basically we get to the different departments, if you will, of a company, like a marketing department, a finance department, an accounting department. This is what you will be doing in the first half, and in the second half we make it even more complicated, and we have departments that are integrated, that cover different topics, like for instance IT. So IT is relevant for finance, but it's also relevant for HR, it's relevant for marketing, and so is a law department. All of the law issues and the ethics issues, they refer to all of the different business functions, all of the different departments, let's say. So, and that means that at the end of the 2nd year, you have a pretty broad, good overview and knowledge, basic knowledge of all kinds of things that play a role in business administration, be it operations, marketing, strategy, finance, accounting, HR. You've heard it all, but also IT, internationalization, these kind of topics, innovation management. And that means the advantage is now that you have that basic knowledge, so we don't necessarily have to force you to take certain topics anymore. So we can give you some more leeway. So basically the whole 3rd year, you're free to choose and to fill it in the way that you like best. Starting with the 1st semester. The 1st semester, we've called it Expand Your Horizon, because you can look a little bit further than just business administration if you want. So there are different options that you have. You can go abroad and study there for half a year. So the world is your oysters. We're a big university. We have agreements, traveling agreements, exchange agreements with more than 100 partner universities worldwide, whether it's US, Australia, New Zealand. but also Europe, all European countries, everywhere you want to go, we basically have a partner university there, and you can go there. Otherwise, there is also a minor. A minor is like a mini program, if you will, of half a year, a management summary of another bachelor program. So this is for those of you who said like, yeah, my dream was always philosophy, but let's be honest, what can I do with philosophy? So I studied business administration. But yeah, now is your chance to do something else, like for instance, philosophy or art history or artificial intelligence or cultural anthropology or English language or Chinese culture, whatever you want. We have more than 100 different minor programs that you can pick from to broaden your horizon and do something else for half a year than just business administration. And last not least, well, we all know, like, okay, we're somewhere applying, and then they get to hear, yeah, you know, nice, but you come from university, you're a freshman, nothing we can use. We have to train you first before you're useful for us. So you should start out with an internship. So to avoid this, you could also do your internship already for credits during your bachelor education. And the place for that would be the first semester of year 3. And that gets us to the second semester of year 3. And there you can further focus in. So the first semester was expanding, looking further, and now it's focusing, zooming in, becoming a specialist. So you've heard all different topics of business administration. Now is your chance to pick the one that you like best and specialize in that. So we have 4 different specializations to offer. One in accounting and control. What is accounting and control? Well, accounting is basically 2 sides. It's bookkeeping and it's budgeting. So the one is financial accounting, the other is management accounting. So you have to report certain things like your balance and stuff, and then you have to make choices. You have to keep track of all of your books. There are regulations there, how to do it in the right way, how to do good bookkeeping, international rules about that. This is what you learn in financial accounting. And the budgeting side is more the controlling side. So keeping good track of all of your costs, your expenses, and your profits to make sure that at the end of the day, you earn back all of the money that you spend and make a profit. So that's accounting and control. Then move over to entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity. So you see a bunch of different things. It's, of course, entrepreneurship, setting up your own business, but also intrapreneurship. So being entrepreneurial in your own company. You see that a lot of big companies have in their job advertisements that they're looking for people with an entrepreneurial mindset. So people who are proactive, who think about stuff, how to make this company a better place, projects that might help the company, drive them forward, ask for the resources, take care of them. So something like really being an entrepreneur in your company. So it's really sought after. So entrepreneurship is not only for those who want to set up their own business, but also for people who want to work in innovative companies. Finance. Pretty easy. It's about money. And there is 2 things about money. One is getting money. That's financing, how to get money, different ways of how to get money in, like borrowing money somewhere or getting out stocks, and what's the best portfolio there, how to do that. And the same goes for spending money, investment. So if you have enough money, the question is, what should you do with it? Of course, you don't give it to the bank and save it. No, you're going to spend it on profitable projects. So, and if you have to choose between different ones, which one should you choose? How to invest it and what are good portfolios? And what comes also with investment and with finance is risk management, because unfortunately, quite often the most profitable projects are also the most risky one. So how to balance those things, being as profitable as possible by having as low risk as possible. So that's finance. And the last not least, it's management. Management is a little bit more comprehensive than the other ones. Management incorporates strategy, internationalization, marketing, and human resource management. All 4 different components. And the focus, we're living in a digital age, so the focus for all 4 of those is on the digital age. So for instance, talking about now management, talking about marketing, you would have stuff like, for instance, how to do web scraping. So web scraping is basically using the internet to get all kind of information. For instance, monitoring competitors' prices to see if somebody else is dropping suddenly and you're too high, and you can then react to that. or trend analysis about changes in customer demands that you can see from the purchases, from all of the information from other people, from running through all kinds of forums. So it is really relevant and interesting. You need big data for that. You need machine learning, AI. So nice opportunities for marketeers. But also from the management side, management in terms of HR, leading people, it's interesting to know how does that work? For instance, well, we're now on Zoom. Is Zoom the same as if we were together? No, obviously not, because you feel that the sphere, the atmosphere in a room would be completely different from now on the screen. But how is it different? What does it do to people? Get people really stressed? What distracts them? How can they perform best in a digital age? How should the leader cope with those things? How can you lead people that you know only from the screen, that are working all over the globe? Is that the same as people who are in the company actually? How is it different? How to be inclusive there? All questions related to the digital age that will be covered there in this specialization. All right, so I guess now we have a good idea about the bachelor's program, how it looks like, and about business administration, what it is. So now the question that probably pops up, what then if I'm done? What should I do? What can I do with it? I told you in the beginning already, well, it's great. You have great opportunities. You can work for a lot of different companies, but what to do content-wise? Well, here you have some examples sorted by the 4 different specializations. So with entrepreneurship, of course, you can be an entrepreneur, or you can be an innovation manager, or you can be a startup consultant. As accounting, somebody who has done accounting, you can be an accountant and controller, a financial advisor. Somebody who has done finance, you can be a risk manager, but also project manager who keeps track of the money flow within the project, a financial advisor. And with management, you can do marketing or a strategic analyst, or be a management consultant. And now we also have a small overview of the places, the companies where most of our graduates work, just to give you an idea. And you can see a pattern there in the sense that what kind of groups of companies are there? Well, you have the big banks in the Netherlands, which is Rabobank and ABN AMRO. And ING Bank. And you can also see the big 4 accounting firms or the big 5 consultancy firms. There's some overlap between the two. So that's Ernst & Young, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, and Accenture. You can see big Dutch, not so Dutch anymore, multinationals like Philips, Unilever, and Shell. And you can also see governmental organizations. Oh, by the way, Ahold Delhaize, maybe you know it, the Dutch of you certainly will. So stuff like Gal & Gal, which is liquors, or Ethos, which is drugstores, and Albert Heijn, which is a grocery store, they all fall under Ahold Delhaize. It's the biggest one in the Netherlands. Okay, and then we have governmental organizations like the tax office, the city of Amsterdam, and also the University of Applied Science hire a lot of people as lecturers. So this is where a lot of our graduates end up. So that gives you a little bit of an idea, all big companies. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview. What I intend to do now is we also have some kind of FAQs, so frequently asked questions that almost every time when we give an information session, they pop up. So therefore, we decided to put them into this presentation. I'm going to answer it right away. So first question, you call it, our program is called business administration. But actually, what's the difference between business administration and international business administration? If you look to the Netherlands, for instance, not too far away in Rotterdam School of Management, you have an IBA, International Business Administration program. If you look a little bit further to the south in the Netherlands, you have in Maastricht, you have an international business program. What's the difference to our program? The answer is none. So no matter how you call it, they are all the same. Because the thing is, how do you want to do business administration, especially in a small country like the Netherlands, without being international? I mean, everything is international here. You either have to hire international people because we don't have enough specialists here in the Netherlands, or your customers are international because, yeah, it's not interesting to sell something only for the Netherlands, except if you're selling milk. But even milk, we are the biggest milk producer in the world. So we're also exporting a lot. So everywhere, either customers or suppliers or your employees, they're all international. So you need to do international business administration. There is no way that you can do business administration in a non-international way. So therefore, it's a no-brainer. So therefore, we didn't think about it. For instance, Rotterdam, the program exists already for 20 years. So 20 years ago, you had to call it International Business Administration. But in the meantime, everybody does International Business Administration. So no difference. We also have fully English language, international lecturers, international students. More than 50% of our students are international students, international courses and materials, and we do have an exchange program. So next question. What's the difference between the University of Amsterdam and other Dutch universities who offer business administration? Like I mentioned there, Rotterdam has a program in business administration. Maastricht has a program in business administration. What's now the difference? Well, to be honest, they're all good. Of course, you have rankings, and we might score then a ranking maybe slightly higher than others. But yeah, it looks like, okay, we score number 50 and others score number 80. But the differences, to be honest, between 50 and 80 are really marginal. So all universities in the Netherlands are relatively equal, and it's only nuances that are different. So I wouldn't really look at quality and think like, that's a good one, that's a bad one. It's not like the UK or the US, where you have enormous differences between different universities. They're all good here. But content-wise, there is something like 80% overlap, which means there's also 20% difference. And this is what you maybe might want to look at. So what do you have at certain universities? So for instance, in Rotterdam, they're close to the harbor, to the sea. So they have a lot of, or compared to other universities and business administration programs, more logistics. Okay, makes sense because they have a big harbor close there. We, on the other hand, we have here a lot of startups, and we have a lot of digital business is a big thing in Amsterdam. So this is why we focus a lot in our program on digital business. So in the first year already, we start out with a specialization in digital business in our very first course, Principle of Economics and Business. Then we have entrepreneurship. We have a specialization in entrepreneurship. We have a minor in entrepreneurship in which we support you in setting up your own business. You've seen in the management specialization, all of the courses zoom in on the digital age and what are the implications. What do we learn from the digital age? How do we adapt to it? How do we have to adapt the way that we do our business there? And we've learned a lot about business ethics. So we've learned that it's a bad thing not to be ethical. We've seen financial crisis, big problems popping up, banking crisis, all because of unethical, greedy behavior in business. So I think it's fair to say, I think even in Europe, we are in the top 10% in business ethics. That doesn't mean that you will have 20 courses, but in every course, you do have a bit of business ethics. And in every year, 1, 2, 3, you will have a dedicated course to business ethics. So if you like those 3 topics, then you're good with us. So this is next to the standard stuff, what you will get, especially in Amsterdam. And now for the last one, I think, and that's the difference between business administration and business economics, because we have 2 different bachelor programs from, well, we have several different, but 2 which sound relatively similar because they have both the word business in it. And one is business administration and the other is business economics. It's called economics and business economics. So what's the difference? Well, business administration, I just explained. It's pretty broad, it's multidisciplinary, it's managerial. And business economics is basically an economic study program where you would have maybe a third business administration, but then more the number side. So especially stuff like finance and accounting. So it does include some parts of business administration, but only very limited. So none at all of the managerial parts. So nothing like marketing, strategy, human resource management. That's not part of it. It's mostly the number crunching. So it's more analytical, it's more focused, and it's more monodisciplinary. And especially it's 2/3 economics and only 1/3 business. So it's a matter of taste. If you like economics, but you want to give it a little bit of a business administration twist and you want to work in finance or accounting, then it doesn't matter. You can pick any of the 2. If you're more interested in a broader education and you're not yet sure where in business administration you want to end up, or if you're more interested in the managerial side, like marketing, strategy, HR, then you should rather go for business administration. And I guess that was it. So,
Thank you, Frank, for this presentation. We want to move on to the Q&A. There's a few questions already in the Q&A chat. I feel like some people dropped in after I did the introduction. So one more time, if you have questions for Frank or later on for our other people presenting, you can post your question in the Q&A. Some will we answer through the chat and some we will answer here. So let's start with the first one. Does the UvA help with internship placements and placements in the international exchange programs?
It's a multifaceted question. So several things. Yes and no, do we help? So yes, we do help, but no in the sense of, first of all, it's your responsibility. So it's not that you enroll here and you say, it's year 3, like to do an internship, bring it on, chap. And then we come there and say, like, how can I help you? How can I be of service? Look, here's a portfolio. There's a whole booklet with 100 different companies. They're just waiting for you. You pick one, I will call them up and tomorrow you can start. That's not how it works. So companies come to us and they offer their internships. Indeed, we have such a booklet. Well, not a booklet, but we have on an electronic, on a website, we have an overview of all kinds of different internships and you can scroll through them, but then you would have to apply and you would have to sell yourself and convince the company that you're the right person for their internship. So at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. And of course, you're perfectly free to bring up something else that you have found yourself. So you don't need to stick with the companies on our webpage. So we will support you. We will help you. There are also seminars on how to sell yourself and how to present yourself and how to write letters and stuff like that. So you get support, but we expect you to take an effort and sell yourself to actually get it. And now for the second part, because there was also in international internships. So it's basically now a combination of internships and international. We do have on our website few international internships. We do have some, but the normal internships that we have are mostly in the Netherlands. So if you want to do international, I'll be honest with you, you most likely will have to look for it yourself. Also, it gets a little bit complicated. It is possible to do international internship in the sense that you are abroad full-time while doing your internship, but you have to plan ahead and organize it well. So already in the second year of your studies, you got to be aware of that and start planning accordingly and put all of the switches in the right directions to make it possible. Because it's not the default and it takes then some planning. So the normal case would be do your internships in the Netherlands. But yes, it's possible.
Yeah, and so Hanni's question was also, do we help with the placement in the exchange programs?
Of course, yeah. The exchange programs, they run fully via us. So basically, we have an overview of all of the exchange places, how many people they accept, what are the requirements, all applications run. We help you with that. You can check it on our website. So this is something that we organize, yeah.
Thank you. Then Mariangela had a question regarding the minors. You said that there are 100 plus programs, minor programs offered. Are they all in English?
No, only 5 are in English. No, they're not more than one. I think we have something like 140 in Dutch, and in English, I think we have half of them. I think it's around 70.
Yeah. I looked it up actually during your presentation. It's 73,
right.
To be precise.
So we do have quite a lot of choice, but the more than 100 is only for the Dutch. But 70, I think, probably also gives you quite some to choose from.
Yeah, and if you're interested, go to uva.nl/minor. You can find the whole list, and you can filter them so you only see the English ones. I currently don't have any live questions, but another question we get quite often from potential students is, do you have to be good at maths?
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt. Not per se because you need a lot of math, but because the way that you think then is also analytic thinking, and that helps everywhere. But you don't necessarily have to train that with only math. So philosophy also helps with analytical thinking. So if you take a look at the program, How much of the topics are math related? Some. So if you talk about operations management and finance, they're math related. But if you talk about stuff like HR, strategy, marketing, they're not at all math related. So if you take a look at the program itself, we have 2 courses in statistics, but none in maths. But basically means that all the mathematics that you need is included in the topics. So the math that you need for finance, you will learn during the finance course. We don't have separate math courses, which sets us a little bit apart from a lot of other programs. So I think that most of the other business administration programs in the Netherlands do have not only 2 statistics, but also 2 additional mathematics courses. We don't feel that this is really needed. We feel that this is overkill, also because of a lot of the students drop out because of math, which is not really needed. So therefore, we integrated it in our content courses, and that works better. So a little bit of math is not bad to have. So if you really feel like I don't ever want to see a formula ever again in my life, then you might rather study languages than business administration. But it's, I would say, in all honesty, a low math topic.
All right, thank you so much. I'm quickly looking to see if my colleague flagged any others to do live. Oh, there's another question here I think might be interesting. Is it possible to do an exchange and an internship? So do both?
Yes, but again, a lot of planning is needed. So you could, well, it's a little bit of overkill. Well, yeah, well, you need, yes, it is possible. But then if you ask me, then yeah, but to make it more complicated, I want to do my internship in Asia and I want to do my exchange in America. Certain moment it stops. So, you know, life is about making choices. You can't have it all. You can't just watch the cake and eat it. So it's either or. But if you plan it well, let's say you want to do an internship in France and at the same time, let's say in Paris, and at the same time do an exchange program in Paris, that might be possible. But again, it needs a little bit of careful planning, also communication with the university and with the company that there is no overlap. But if you plan it theoretically, it would be possible.
Yeah, but most likely you would, I think students do this, but they take an extra semester. So the
easiest thing is if you're interested in it, because honestly, you're also spoiling both of your experiences a little bit. Yeah. If you want to go abroad and study abroad, you want to get the full experience. You want to feel how it's like to be a student in that other country and not just hurry around between your university and between the company there. And in the company, you're constantly stressed because they give you work, but you also have to run to the university. So you have to work in the evening. And at the end of the day, you're really tired and almost burnt out. So I would probably advise against it. So on paper, it is possible. If you plan, it's doable. But if you're really interested, I would ask you to consider whether it might be an option. Just do, for instance, your exchange program, finish your studies, and then don't unenroll from your program, but do another half year in which you do an internship. So you continue as a student. You don't need to follow any more courses or anything. You just do your internship for half a year abroad. And after that, you simply stop your study. So then it takes 3.5 years, but you can fully profit both from the exchange and from the internship without having the stress of doing both at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. I think I want to close this part of the Q&A for now. We will keep answering questions in the chat, so no worries if your question hasn't been answered right now, and we'll also take some time at the end to answer any questions that are left. So Rosemary, I would like to give the digital floor to you to give our presentation about the admission and selection.
Thank you, Sanne. Yeah, now we are at the application and admission selection part. This program has a numerous fixes, and this means we have a maximum of 700 people, of students that can enroll in the program. And for that, you have to take a selection test. As you can see, you have 2 different parts. You have the admission to the program and the selection for the program. And if you look at the admission part, the entry requirements, we expect a certain level before you can start the program. And this is a first check. So you can check these entry requirements on our program page. First, you need a diploma that's equivalent to the Dutch VWO. And you need the mathematics proficiency and the English proficiency. For all the details, you can go to the program page and click on the tab Application and Admission. And there you can see the exact requirements you have to pass. So then you have to step 2. Step 2 is to register in Studielink to enroll for the program. And this is a system for registration for Dutch University. And the deadline is early. It's the 15th of January, 2024. After you have registered, you will receive an email from the university with your student number, in which we call it your UvA ID, and a link to your enrollment checklist. And there you can see all the steps you have to follow to successfully enroll for the program. So step 3. Step 3 is to go to that enrollment checklist. And one step in that checklist is to choose a selection test date. And the deadline for choosing a selection test date is also the 15th of January, 2024. And you can choose for 2 different dates, one in February or one in March. So now a little bit more about the selection test. It's an online test and it's 2.5 hours long. The test is multiple choice and it's about 3 subjects, namely mathematics, economics, and strategy and organization. And you are going to prepare for the test by an online preparation module. And you will get access to that module 1 week prior to your test. You will receive other specific details about the test and how to prepare in February. And then the ranking number. So then if you have participated in a selection test, you will get a ranking number. And that ranking number decides if you will get a place in the program. And you will receive your ranking number on the 15th of April, also 2024. So all students are basically ranked on the score of their selection test. So the best student will get ranking number 1, the next 2, and so on. So number 1 till 750 will get a place in the program straight away. And if you have a ranking number that is 751 or higher, you will be placed on a waiting list. But next year, there will probably be 800 places available, but this will be announced, officially announced in October. So then if they offer you a place in the program, Studielink will send you an email and ask you to accept your offer. And you have 14 days, 2 weeks to do so. And if you don't want to accept your place or you forget to accept your place, that place will be offered to the next person on the waiting list. So in this way, the waiting list shortens quite quickly. And all these offers are sent until 1 August 2024. And then the last slide with a couple important dates. You can read the whole application process, selection procedure on our website. The most important thing is to remember the dates that you see on the screen right now. So on the 15th of January, it's a deadline to apply and to also choose a selection test date in your enrollment checklist. And then in February or March, you will take the selection test. And then on 15th of April, you will receive your ranking number. So that's it.
Thank you, Rosemarie. There are a few questions coming in. One is, how many students took the selection test this year?
This year it was almost 1,900 people.
Okay.
So that's a lot.
It's a lot.
And last year it was like around 1,800. So it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I have another question that I thought would be nice to get answered, but maybe Frank, you can answer this one. Why does business administration have numerous fixes to begin with? I hope Frank
Yes,
is.
of course I'm there. Forgot to unmute myself, and that after 2 years of COVID, where we did nothing than teaching with Zoom.
Yeah.
Why do we have it? Because we were too popular. I mean, you can see it already in the answer from Rosemary when she said that there were 1,900 applicants or 1,900 people who participated in the selection test. So basically, we were the first people who were interested. It was way more than that. It's just we can't handle those big numbers. Let's assume all of those 1,900 people wouldn't have to go through a selection test and all of them would be enrolled. We have almost 2,000 people who start. Those 2,000 people all would have to find, well, you need rooms for them to teach them in the university. You need lecturers to teach them at the university of good quality. Where to find them? It's just not doable. And that also means that you have then, well, if you go for groups of 30 people in the first year, you get, I don't know, 60 groups at the same time when you have to, how are you going to do that? It's just totally impossible. So we were thinking, what is the maximum where we can guarantee a good quality in our education? And this is what we call then our numerus fixus, our maximum number of people. And this is what we asked for, what we applied for with the Dutch government, because if you want to limit it, you have to ask approval from the Dutch government. And we got it because we had convincing reasons, because it's just from a practical perspective, that's the max that we can handle. This is why they have the numerus fixus.
Thank you. Rosemary, in general, how much time do you have to allocate for studying during that week?
Yeah, it depends. But if you're looking at, I do an evaluation and it's around 30 hours, 40 hours. Yeah.
And then I also see a couple of times the question, what was the last ranking number accepted in the last year?
Last year it was 1153. And
so out of 1,800.
Out of 1,800, and the year before it was 1,700, and then it was 1181. So around that number.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And I think I've also one more question for Frank. Sorry, I keep bugging you. What's the pass ratio for first year students? So how many students gets a positive binding study advice?
Give or take 80%.
80%.
So I think it's somewhat less than 20. I think if I remember it correctly, last year was 18% who failed, so 82% who passed.
Yeah, thanks. Let's see if I have another question for, well, I think this is an interesting one. And I'm not sure who the best person is to answer this one, but the Dutch government is talking about wanting to limit the number of international students starting in 2024. How do you think this will influence this program?
Inshallah. So it's a difficult one because we don't have any news about that. It's a political topic, and how exactly it might be, because everything is discussed. So they also, well, the minister is not really strong in favor of limiting it too much, because he says that for a lot of programs, like for instance business administration, the international classroom is a big advantage, because later on their job is going to be international too, so that international experience has an added value. So the question is, how about those programs? They might be exempted altogether from any regulations. Also 2024, I'm not sure, knowing the Dutch culture, how quick something will be done. Quite often it's a lot of talking and less doing, like always in politics. So I'm not sure. And another way how we could tackle that is because the idea is we don't want international students to limit the chances of Dutch students to get a place there. We don't want the international to crowd out the Dutch one. So one way how we could tackle that is that we set up an additional Dutch language program. So that means that every Dutch student has a chance to get into the Dutch program of business administration. And then anyways, we are fine. So I'm not expecting that we will see a huge decrease in international students. My hunch is that it might happen that we set up an additional Dutch language program.
Yeah, and I can immediately see a follow-up question right now. It's not the case that we accept more or less international students now, right? Everyone gets an equal chance.
Well, anyways, now everybody who goes into the selection test, who's basically part of the procedure and who gets a place, we are bound to that. So anything that might happen might be only for the future and is not applying to you already.
No.
So in this sense, yeah, it's an interesting question, especially for us, and nobody knows exactly whether something will happen and what will happen. But for you now, as interested in starting next year, it's not going to have any implications. Is my strong idea about that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Keep an eye on the website, I think is all we can say. If there's anything that we change, we will communicate it timely on the program website. Thank you, Rosemarie. I think that's for now all the questions that we have for you.
Welcome. Bye.
And I want to give the floor to one of our BA students, Maria.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria. I come from Greece, and I'm in my third year of studying business administration at the University of Amsterdam. And today I will tell you and I'll explain a little bit more about my experience with the program. I remember 3 years ago when I was kind of in your shoes, really debating and hesitant of whether I should go and study abroad, because it actually is not an easy decision to make for everyone. It was at a time where I was unsure of what direction I want to follow, or what I would like to do in the future, as well as what interested me the most. After checking the course program, as well as visiting the campus with the help of my family and friends, I decided that it would be a great opportunity that I shouldn't let go. I chose business administration because the program deep dives in many different areas of the business world, and therefore you're kind of given the opportunity to think yourself in the future in one of those careers, which is essentially done by following a range of courses from marketing to statistics, from finance to business operations. So you do learn many, many different things from different courses. Now, looking back at it, I believe I made one of the best decisions of my life, actually, and have come to the realization that I have learned so many things throughout these years around the way businesses work and how they operate, how they market themselves in the outside world. And currently, in my third year, I have been given the freedom to adjust the program to my liking and personalize it. And to give you an example, the previous semester, I chose to apply and utilize my knowledge by doing a full-time internship in a multinational coffee company. And this gave me the opportunity to kind of experience how the corporate world works and see how a company operates actually, apart from the theory that was already learned in the program. Other students and some of my friends were doing a minor or followed a semester in a different country abroad. Therefore, I would definitely say that you have many options to choose from in your final year to broaden your career and knowledge even further. And that is what I really also value in the university and the program overall, that you can combine other interests and extracurricular activities that you may have with your studies. To give you an idea, you can join, for example, a study association or the student ambassadors program or the social media team, which are all things that I'm currently doing. And generally, you have many ways to find what you really like and be active in the student community, so to say. I hope that this short overview gave you an idea of how the student experience looked like for me and will help you in deciding about your study choice. And now I would like to hand over to Marco to share his student experience.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, first let me introduce myself. My name is Marco Caminada. I am also a third-year bachelor student in business administration. I'm from the Netherlands, so I decided to stay here and study in Amsterdam. I think mostly because I live quite close by, so it's quite easy to travel to university and back home for me. So it takes like an hour max. And I chose Bachelor Business Administration because in high school I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew my economics and my math were all right, and I was quite interested in them. Besides that, I had no clue what I wanted to do as a job or study in general. So I didn't want to limit myself towards one specific job. So, for instance, if you study law, it's really like you can only practice law or become a lawyer or something. And with business administration, it just has so many different opportunities. And also the freedom the university gives besides your studying. So as Maria also said, also part of a study association, I used to work 2.5 days besides my study and never had any problems with my planning. So you have a lot of free time as well for your sports, your friends, or any other part-time jobs. And now I have a bit better idea what I want to do due to all the different courses we had, but also the different experience I myself gained. And I would say there is quite some difference between studying at the university and studying in high school. So I would say the main difference is like the amount of people. So the first time I was in this big lecture hall with over 300 people, it was not really intimidating, but it was really different from being in a classroom with 30 people in high school. But then again, the tutorials are still quite similar with small focus groups. And yeah, as from being from the Netherlands, I had of course my high school in Dutch, so it was a bit of a switch towards studying in English, especially like the first lecture. It was kind of switching for me, but that within like 1 or 2 weeks became almost natural because all the books you read are in English, the tutorials, the lectures you follow are in English as well, and the study is so international with around 60% of the students being from another country. Yeah, you almost always talk English, so this switch was all right for me as well. So yeah, I hope that I gave a really quick view of how studying goes for me with business administration. So hopefully you will have a better view right now.
Thank you, Marco and Maria. No questions came in for you at the moment. I guess your story was really clear. Thank you for that. Then I would like to continue to the next slide. What's next? So you can keep an eye on our website where we will share all relevant information when applying for a bachelor's program at our university. You can now sign up for the experience day where you can become student for a day. We have two, both on campus and online. And please remember to apply for a Studielink before the 15th of January 2024. It may seem a long way down, but it's here before you know it. And I want to thank all of my colleagues, both on screen and behind the scenes, answering all of the questions. And I mostly want to thank you guys for participating today. And I hope it was useful. I hope it was fun. And we hope to welcome you sometime in the future.